It's not just us, we'd have to concur. We've got folk singers, rappers and punkers. Everyone taking care of one another.
Welcome to the Unsigned Unwind. I am Andy Scullin. I am your host, and if you are just tuning in because the band that is on today's episode is a band that you like and you wanted to check it out, you may not know that I do another show called Unsigned 518, and it is right here in the same feed wherever you are listening to this episode. You can catch all of my episodes of Unsigned 518. I put out 2 episodes a week. It's all local music focused, and like I said, you can get everything right here in one feed. So that's Unsigned 518 right here, wherever you are listening. So what this show is, if you're just tuning in for the first time ever, is my showrunner, Angela Tourangeau. She does all the incoming and outgoing communication with local bands from across the U.S. and Canada. And we have a date that I am recording, and she will set up Google Calendars, and I have a first name, a phone number, and sometimes a band name. And that's the only information that I have. I never know what genre of music. I never know where in the U.S. or Canada they are. I know nothing except for name, band, phone number. So today we are going to talk with Alexis of Sneakerwave. Hi, Alexis.
Hey, Andy.
How are you?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm good. And, before we got recording, I kind of let you know that I know nothing about your band. I don't know what part of the country that you're from, and I'm just basically here to find that information out. So I guess, first of all, the name of the band is Sneakerwave, right?
Yeah, that's correct.
And where do you hail from?
Yeah, so glad you asked. Our band is a 5-member band, and we're based out of Portland, Oregon. And we play indie rock. I would say it's surf-influenced, kind of jangle rock, 80s influenced. But, we pull a lot of influences from all over.
Nice. And Portland, you're officially at this point the farthest guest that I've had on my show, because I'm out in Albany, New York. So literally the complete other side of the country. And, I almost want to be like, hey, what's the music scene like in Portland? But Portland's kind of known for being like the cool hip city. But is it like, as a local band, do you find that it's like a real accepting scene? Are there lots of places to play? Like, people get along and everything?
Yeah, I'm so glad you asked. It's a really active scene, and it's a super friendly scene. Like, we've been a band. We haven't been a band for very long. We actually started writing music at the beginning of 2023.
Oh, wow.
So
Nice.
we haven't been around for very long, but like the Portland scene has been so accepting and awesome and supportive. We've been on tour with one of our friend bands who's also based out of Portland. They're called Nug. They're great. Look them up. We're friends with Sit Pretty, another Portland band. But like, we've been invited to so many bills. We try to invite tons of local people to our bills. It's just a really cool scene. And you can go out and see so many live shows any night of the week here in Portland.
And so, when you say like your friends, like, is that like kind of something where you make a bunch of friends in the scene? Because, out here, certainly, like, at this point, like, almost all of my friends are people that I've met like through music. Yeah.
Totally. Yeah. These are people we met after we started as a band. Like, I didn't know any of these people in like my non-music life. So they're people we like played shows with and then ended up really jiving with, or people who would invite us to their friend shows or house parties. It's been really, really cool.
And there's something just exhilarating about like meeting people that are doing the same thing that you're doing and being excited about their work, but then realizing that they're excited about your work as well, like.
Yeah, absolutely. And I feel like a lot of people out here who do music also are just like creatively busy people, like are making videos or are doing like visual art, or just, I don't know, it's really, people are encouraged, I think, to have a lot of hobbies and encourage each other in those hobbies.
Do you think that's something that you find out in the scene out there, is that more than just music contributes to the music? Because you just said making videos and art, obviously any of that could tie into music. Like, is the scene bigger than just the music, is what you're saying?
Yeah, I think so. I think that there are definitely people who like to stay in the music specific world, but it's very accepting of other influences. Like, I personally do a lot of visual art and I did a bunch of screen printing with a band for all of our merch, but I'm also like, hey, other Portland bands, like we should get together and screen print because it's an affordable way to make merch. It's super fun. You get like a lot of say over the creative process. And I think it adds a lot of charm. And I think that that is like an ethos in the Portland music scene at large.
Right. And I mean, that's like to a smaller extent, or maybe a larger extent if you think geographically. Like, that's what I'm trying to do with this show is that there's
Uh-huh.
so many small pockets of local musicians and local bands all over the country. And if they all were kind of aware of each other, like, even if they don't, aren't in the same room with each other, like even when you just said getting bands together to screen print and make their own merch, like that's a grassroots thing that like
Yeah.
everybody should get that idea in their head to be like, no, you can just do it yourself. Get a fucking bunch of people together and like, so
Totally.
I hopefully some people out here listen to this episode and then take that idea and run with it. I love the
Yeah.
DIY arts. It's such a, I don't know. I get a
Yeah, I hope
charge out of
so.
knowing that like there's other people doing the same shit that I'm doing on the other side of the country. You know what I mean?
Yeah, totally, totally. And I mean like we did our first tour in the spring and it was like it's so funny to call it a tour. It was a tour. Like we did multiple shows in multiple places, but it was so DIY. Like we did it with one of our friends, we hopped in a couple of vans, we printed our own merch, we booked all the shows ourselves. Like we all slept in one Airbnb. Like it was very, very DIY, but it was so, so fun.
Right.
And we just got total control over it. Like one of the shows we did was up in Seattle and we played a show at a roller skating rink, which was so cool. Like we set up in the middle of the rink, people skated around us, but we just like took that whole day hanging out around the sound, eating fish and chips, like going to a guitar store. We just got to do whatever we wanted, which was so fun.
And that's like kind of the dream, like as you were saying all that stuff, I'm like picturing like a montage from like a Cameron Crowe movie or something. I'm like,
Yeah,
yeah, that
mhm.
sounds amazing. Doing all these
It was
things
so fun.
on your own terms. Like to be like,
Yeah,
yeah, we want to do this, we're gonna do that, and I love that.
yeah, yeah. It definitely. I mean, I feel like we're lucky, like we have the means to financially do it, but it definitely helps that we go as a big group. It helps spread the cost around. So it's not like it's not nothing, but it's fun when you can get enough people to make it realistic.
Yeah, absolutely. And so before we go, I just want to, kind of the theme of the show. This is my third podcast show. Like I have two other shows that focus on the 518 music scene, and one of the things that I wanted to use this show for, and I kind of said it, talking about the screen printing T-shirts, is I want it to be like just a little bit of an advice network from local
Mm-hmm.
bands around the country, because obviously doing the DIY, doing everything yourself, it takes a toll, and
Mm-hmm.
we need to rest. Like you cannot just
Yeah,
go
absolutely.
full bore all the time because it's just not sustainable. So I guess my question to you, Alexis, is say you had a little bit of time, whether it's a day or just an afternoon, where you were given this free time to unwind something that has nothing to do with music or the hustle or anything. Like, what would you
Mm.
personally do to unwind?
Yeah, great question, and I love the theme. I am a big cyclist, and I also really like to walk. I find being outside really wonderful, and like walking especially, it's easy to detach it from like exercise and performance.
Right.
It's easy to just take that as like I'm out, just relaxing. I do like to listen to music. I mean, just for pleasure. Like it also can be easy to turn that into like, a learning moment, but it's nice to put on something like ambient. Like I'm a huge fan of Mogwai and Grouper, and I'll just go on like a nice long walk. That definitely helps. I'm a big hot beverage person. I love a big like mug of tea or a big cup of coffee, and I love to like walk somewhere, grab a book, get a coffee. Like, oh, that's one of my favorite ways to unwind because I can fully take my mind out of my life, my problems, my aspirations, and just like get really into someone else's story. Um, And I I actually am like one of my guilty pleasures is competitive Tetris, weirdly. Like I there's this game called Tetris 99 that I just when I'm like bothered by problems, I love to get in and just play Tetris because it literally takes every iota of my attention. I can't think about anything else. So that is also super helpful, honestly, for unwinding for me.
Respect. I love that. That's great. So, and in Portland's such a great, when you were saying like grab a coffee and a book, and like, because Portland's a great city to do that. My wife and I visited, I don't know, probably 4 or 5 years ago, and
Gotcha.
I don't know if you ever go on those vacations where like you go to a place and then like when you leave that place, you start like having those conversations about moving there.
Yeah, yeah, totally.
Like Portland was one of those places where I was like, I don't know. Maybe pretty cool to move to Portland,
Yeah,
Oregon.
I mean, come back and visit anytime. Yeah.
Oh, I'm
my
sure we
gosh.
will. Like, I really dug that city. I thought it was cool. And as like an old skate rat, to go see Burnside was
Oh yeah.
was just like
Classic.
unreal. I was like, holy shit! Like I'm standing like at Burnside. This is amazing. It was
To
awesome.
speak of DIY, yeah.
Right? Yeah. It was like the something that's been a part of my life forever, and it started as just a, hey, let's build this under a bridge. It's
Yeah,
amazing.
that's awesome.
I love it. So let's listen to a Sneaker Wave song, and I guess Alexis, which song do you want to feature for the folks to hear?
Yeah, great question. We submitted Clover, which is a song we wrote last summer, and it's about maybe sometimes saying more than you wanted to say when interacting with people.
I'm guilty of that plenty of times. All right, cool. So, Alexis, thank you so much for taking time out of your day to talk to me and talk a little bit about Sneaker Wave and give us a little advice on how to unwind. I really, truly appreciate it. And where can people find you online?
Absolutely, yeah. It was a pleasure speaking to you too, Andy. Folks can find us online, Instagram, TikTok. We're under Sneaker Wave PDX, like the Portland Airport. And our music's on Spotify, Apple Music, iTunes, etc.
The whole deal. All right. Excellent. So Alexis of Sneaker Wave, again, thank you so much. So let's check out the song Clover from Sneaker Wave, and it's here on the Unsigned Unwind.
It's the way that it grows in between us. How the days spelling around, they began to seize us. Seems like I had another debate with myself and
That was Clover from Sneaker Wave here on the Unsigned Unwind. And again, I want to remind you to check out the other shows that are right here in the same feed, no matter where you're listening, whether it's Spotify, Apple Music, Overcast, Pocket Cast, whatever. They'll all be in the same feed. Unsigned 518, Unsigned 518's Weekend Spotlight, and the Unsigned Unwind. And it just made sense, even though they're three kind of separate shows. They're all kind of the same thing, and they're all hosted by me and produced by me, so it just makes sense to have them in one place. So check out the other shows. I promise you there's lots of cool music and great discussions with musicians. So that is it for this week. Make sure that you like, rate, subscribe wherever you listen, and follow me on Instagram at Unsigned518, where you'll get information on all three shows on the Instagram. It'll be all in one place as well, so just all under Unsigned 518. But anyway, I am Andy Scullin. This is the Unsigned Unwind. I'll see you on the road. If you would like to be a guest on the Unsigned Unwind, send an email to Angela at unsignedproductions.com. Take care of one another, and I'll see you soon.